Welcome back to What the Flag podcast. Of course, I'm here with Yas and Kenny, and I'm just going to start right off because Yas, you are getting married soon.
Sorry.
Are you ready? Like, what is going on here? I
feel like you can never be ready. You can never be ready. The best thing is that you work with so many people that just know what they're doing. So you're panicking and everything's on fire for you, and they're like, "How we do this all the time? Like, don't worry about it," which is really nice. But I'm at the point now where I'm just trying to chill out so I can actually enjoy this week as opposed to, crying.
Well, that's why you're here. So now instead you can just hang out with us, talk some flag football, put the world to rights.
On the scale of 1 to Bridezilla,
Yes.
where are you?
I actually think I've been really good.
You mean
I would say...
Would they
your
say
octane just rose a little,
Yeah,
so I'm questioning.
I'm about a 3, maybe a 4. However, I think
Okay.
you could probably be hitting
So
that 11 if this was you.
I think you're right. I think you will be a Bridezilla.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad you
Let's go.
threw it over to Kenny because
Yeah.
actually, this is going to be our intro to Kenny episode.
Yay.
I know, you were waiting for this moment. This is
Excited.
your stage to really let the people know. But I want to start off first because you and I met, goodness, back in it was really too long ago for me to remember the actual year, but...
Oh, Kenny's 40. He doesn't remember dates. There you go. How'd you like it?
2017.
2016. No, 2016.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
2016.
There you go. See?
But really, so Kenny was running we played on GB you played men's GB, I played women's for flag. But ultimately, you were working for NFL UK.
NFL
you were
UK,
running
yes.
the grassroots program here.
Yeah.
And I used to volunteer at that for years, right? When all the teams would come over, I would go volunteer, and I was like, this is the coolest job ever. And so I remember going to one of them. It was the Bengals were over, and I just thought, I'm going to have your job one day.
And that's literally what she said. That's
That's
literally what she
I
said.
told him.
She
And
was
then
like, yeah.
6
Speak it into
months,
existence.
thank you. 6
Literally,
months
the
later,
following January, she said, not my job, but she was working.
We worked together.
Working together. No, I mean, it was, do you know when you're on a field? American football, there's like hundreds of people. You can have like 100, 150 people on the field.
Yeah.
Lots of noise. And then just all the time, it was quite constant. There's always just one person we could hear, like, over everywhere. No, not in my ear, but like, just energy, an absolute ball of energy, like, far corner of the field. And I look around and like, Phoebe's there, and she's just like running around, energy, but you know how she is as a teammate. So that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
2016, yeah, it's a long time
How
ago.
time flies when you're having fun.
But I mean, what you did was incredible, and I
it
think
was good.
you've had such an amazing career because just rewind a little bit. You played tackle for GB, but you also went and played like semi-pro out in Finland.
Yeah, in Finland. Shout out Seinäjoki Crocodiles. Showing my age. In 2008, I played a season out in Finland. That was a huge experience. So I'd come out of uni. I'd worked for a bank for a year. Not for me. Listen.
Nice.
40. There's a lot of stops in there. Did that. It wasn't really for me, and I was really trying to find myself as a player. So I'd started off as a QB. We don't really talk about those years, though. Don't listen. So do you know what? Quick segue. I was Lamar Jackson trying to play for the Broncos. Pocket passing. I just couldn't. The playbook didn't allow for the freedom to express myself as I would have liked to as a player.
Good workman never blames his schools,
It's
but
true.
whatever.
Listen.
That's true.
Just give me a little rolling pocket. Let me. No. So I started off first 3 years as a QB. We don't talk about that. But I moved to receiver, and I really found myself, my space in the sport. Finished uni, and I was like, at that time, NFL Europe was still a thing. Shout out my historians that know what that was. No. So the track back then, if you were trying to play elite, would have been to try and make it to NFL Europe, which I had at kind of the top of my vision board at the time. Unfortunately, NFL Europe shut down right as I would have been trying to go for combat. I have no idea. I can't say I would have made it. No. I would have made
It's
it.
like that, yeah. I would have made it, but my knee.
But listen. peak physical performance. No. So I went out to Finland, to Seinäjoki, small town, kind of toward, like, it's not, Helsinki's like south, and it's funny we talk about Finland a lot on these chats. But Seinäjoki, small town, absolutely loved it. Summertime in Finland was amazing. The sun goes down for like 2 hours every night between like 1 and 4, 1 and 3.
That's crazy.
And then the sun's up the whole time. So that was a bit of a trip coming out of a nightclub, and it's like sunlight. We've not been in there that long. It's like 11, 12 p.m. Hey, be nice.
Nightclubs, innit?
Team bonding situation. Exactly that. Exactly that.
That's what you got to do. Because I mean, you played out in Finland as well. I mean, tell us how that was.
So I went over 2023.
Okay.
And I went to Helsinki, so south.
Okay.
And I played for the Wolverines. And I was there for 3 months over the summer.
War back then.
I know, I'm sorry. But I played for them for 3 months over the summer, and it was just the best experience. Like, everything about it, and I completely agree. It was very trippy when you came out of like they love karaoke, so we used to go to karaoke every Sunday after a game, and when you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk home, and you leave, and you're like,
it's still fully,
the sun is there, and
daytime
you
outside.
Basically, just walk home like in daylight. It's
how do you sleep?
With blackout curtains.
Sure, They have the best. If you want blackout curtains, go to Finland. We had shutters, and then they had a screen, so you could make it nighttime in the flats.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that. Saunas? Did you have
always saunas?
Every Finnish building
has a sauna. Some of my teammates had them in their houses.
Yeah.
Like, they would just be like, oh, like, after dinner, let's go sauna. Let's go sauna.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So normal thing. And hot dogs, no bun. Was that a thing? Yeah.
No, I don't eat meat.
Veggie hot dogs.
Well, so if you order I guess it's a hot dog sausage, whatever it is, it's just the meat and like ketchup and mustard, but there's no.
How do they hand it to you?
In a
little.
No. In a little cardboard, little paper thing. So it's not on a stick. It's just like. Yeah, and then they just like.
I didn't have that. I feel like I missed out. I need to go back.
Yeah, go back. Go back and get.
Unless it was the reindeer ones, the reindeer hot dogs, because they sometimes serve those like
actual reindeer.
Yeah.
Oh, Santa.
Yeah, I know.
How does he get around?
Although, shout out salmon soup, because that was like... Salmon soup. It doesn't sound great. It is the best thing I've ever tasted in my life.
Seriously?
It was so good. I had to get the recipe and learn like how to make it when I got home.
And you make salmon soup now?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Next week, appreciate it.
Don't bring it in the office.
Not reindeer sausage, just the salmon soup.
Salmon soup in a podcast booth?
Listen.
I'm going to get us back on
vibes,
track. We're going
to...
Vibes. So you played on Finland. First off, I have to say, the three of us have all been coached by Wayne Hill. So you started with Wayne Hill.
2004, I show up in Birmingham Uni. And again, speaking of balls of energy, you both know, just biggest smile, rosy red cheeks, glasses, and Wayne's been amazing, like 20 years plus of, a mentor for all of us, definitely for me, especially, not you, sorry, but we're all teachers. Wayne is a teacher as well, and it's genuine. I think there aren't, just truth be told, there aren't many people I would count as inspirational people that I know personally. Mum and Dad, you're 1 and 2, please. Don't want to get in trouble. But Wayne is like up there, just an amazing advocate for the sport, for us all as individuals, and someone that I really look up to. We all do really look up to.
And just cares so deeply about the sport and people in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, to have people that you just feel like are always on your side in these sports, and will fight for whatever you want to fight for and progress in. Brilliant.
And doing the right things, doing them the right way, absolute legend. Shout out Uncle Wayne.
Yeah, shout out Uncle
Coach.
Wayne. Hashtag situation.
He's from Birmingham. He's a Brummie, as you would say. That is his accent. Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm going to even rewind you even further, because...
dear.
No. So you were born in Nigeria,
yes,
and then you moved here. I mean, that's not easy being a young kid as well, moving to another country.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was great. And I shout out Mum and Dad. They moved us here the education system in Nigeria back then wasn't particularly great, so they wanted us to get a good education. My twin and then an older brother and a sister.
Two
so
of
four
him.
Us. Yeah.
Crazy.
Kenny squared.
Absolutely. Yeah, double trouble. But yeah, so moving to southwest London, Wandsworth Road, Battersea, yeah. Stories, so many stories I could tell. But it was, I think, fortunately, I say fortunately, it's not like I had to learn English. So we always spoke English, so I speak English and Yoruba. But moving here was a transition. I remember the first time it snowed, being like, yeah, I'm not going outside. Is it just me? You know when snow crunches under your feet? Mm-hmm. I can't, thank you.
Really?
I can't stand it. It
was
goes
icky.
right through me.
Oh,
I can't.
it's-
Yeah.
no,
So that was, from then, snow was, nope, out.
No.
But then, yeah, it was, I don't know, moving to the UK was an experience, and it actually gave me a lot of opportunities that, I may not have had, was really cool. And I speak 2 languages, so if I need to cuss someone in Yoruba, I can do that.
And almost 3. I we're going to talk about in a sec, but you're coaching Team Spain. Because so I coached out in Potsdam, which is in Germany, and that was crazy because that was the German Football League, and on defense alone, I had 5 different languages. So you're talking about German, Swiss,
Polish guys,
Polish, French. Mm-hmm. It was definitely a challenge, but you're now coaching Team Spain, women's offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. First off, how did that all go? How did it all come about?
It's been really good. So I think first and foremost, football is such a universal language. Mm-hmm. And we know that from Sax in the City, the women's flag team that we used to be with. And I think it was cool. So some of those players, Olga, Monica, Sabrina, are all from Spain. So fun fact, when I did my teaching degree, I actually did it with Spanish as a part of it. So Spanish has always kind of been there. It's funny how these things come to pan out because you never know when things are going to be useful. But yeah, it's been fun learning. So my Spanish it's not the best. It's better than people think it is. I understand a lot more than I can speak.
Duolingo's
200.
It goes off all the time.
241 day streak and counting. Yeah. Let's go. Shout out Duo. No, but it's amazing. I think one of the challenges is football speak.
Yeah.
In another language is a bit different because it's really funny. They have some Americanisms in there as well, but all with a lovely Spanish accent. I love accents. We spoke last episode about just meeting different people and where they are and what they do. Accents is one of my languages as well. Absolutely love it. So I'm just really having the best of all of it. Kind of being here in the UK, doing the football here, coaching out in Spain, doing all the camps and the tours and stuff. Can't complain at all.
Yeah,
Sounds great.
Trials or something that you're having to put on for Team Spain, but I try to remember for us, have you ever had to do a trial? Do you remember really having to compete?
See when you're a superstar, and you don't have to trial for team, you forget what.
I don't know.
I don't think we did. I think I just.
You didn't have to trial either.
No,
she's a superstar.
I just kind of turned up at camp one day and then I didn't leave.
Yes, I'm looking at you differently.
Sorry.
You didn't have to work for it. Yeah.
I actually originally went to camp for D-line, not O-line.
Really?
Yeah.
That so
I was
cool?
in a blue jersey to start with. No.
In the blue.
It looked great.
It looked great. Blue, red, gold looks great on you.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
But yeah, it just kind of happened.
Yeah. So now you're running trials. And now you're doing that in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Because this summer we have the World Games in Chengdu, China. It's pretty cool because you and I went back when it was in Alabama only a few years ago.
Yeah.
We got to watch Diana Flores, Nausicaa del Toro, all of our amazing teams, our French team out there. How cool is that? And what a full circle moment to see it. The first time flag football had been at the World Games to now knowing that it's 8 women's team. That's all that's going from a flag football perspective to the World Games this summer.
First of all, absolutely buzzing. My first time going out to the Far East, to China. I'm super excited for that. But no, if those that watching remember that final, the World Games final, the previous one, was kind of coming off the back of COVID. So even some of the teams there, some of the players caught COVID, and it was a real challenging situations, challenges for teams to overcome. But then in the final, Mexico convincingly beat USA, and it was a kind of start of a big rivalry. USA returned the favour since, I think, a number of times over. But it just opened up. I think that really opened up the doors to the fact that actually the way that flag is, it's not. When basketball's in the Olympics, everyone kind of assumes that USA are going to win. And flag is similar, but that win by Mexico was the one that kind of was like, whoa, wait, this is not that straightforward.
It's possible.
And everyone has access to it precisely. So bringing that all the way back to Spain, it's like, yes, let's start working with the youth. Let's start finding new people to add to the good players that we have now to try and build that program out. And it starts with trials. Trials are always fun. Always fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
No, it will be good because this year, we've got a lot going on. We've got the Intercontinentals over in the States. You've got, obviously, the World Games. Then we'll have the European Championships for flag football. Wow. I guess, kind of coming to you guys, everyone has a full-time job. How do you manage playing, prepping, being and really operating as a professional athlete whilst really not having the availability of a professional athlete?
I feel like you'll know this, but something has to give. Yeah. So every week you kind of have to choose what your sacrifice is.
What did you cut first?
Sleep. Sleep was the first thing.
Yeah.
And then once you realise you can't do sleep anymore, something else has to give way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a skill to be able to do it, and I don't think it's one that I've managed to master. It's just one of those things that once you're in that element, you're in that zone, you just have to, keep going on, keep continuing. Because, I can say the same for you guys. Like, I only have to, travel to work and, back from work, really. That's, my commute. But there you guys are, jet setters, having to be, fresh over here. Oh, let me just hop on a plane to my European tour and then,
super quick.
I'll be fresh over there. So, how do you go about, managing that and managing your time?
Yeah.
I know for me it's about routine ultimately. So sleep is really important for me because otherwise I don't function. But I always make sure anywhere I go, I try and get to the gym. That just helps me to find a bit of a schedule. I try and kind of almost make it like an identity. Hey, I'm an athlete, right? If I can fake it till I make it, I can keep that being my focus, and I can kind of use that as an excuse. So even if I'm going to the States, I'm going wherever, it's like, no, these are my priorities that I need to do for myself, because I've realized that I'm a much better person when I do those things, and nobody wants me when I'm grumpy and angry. Nobody needs that in their life. But I want to quickly hit on UK Jukes. I was very proud to become a member back in 2018.
My membership.
Yeah, right? Where's the sponsored athletes?
There's no lineman piece yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. Producer Matt, we would like to shout out.
Fuck off.
Literally. But UK Jukes, this was massive because this was like Dude Perfect, trick shots before it was really a thing, and now it's turned into Duke's Institute where you're coaching flag football, which is something within our sport we don't have enough of. There's not enough flag football education out there, and how do coaches learn?
And that's what it's been from the very start. It's always been like, what's missing? What isn't there that people can benefit from? So as you said, initially it was, I don't know if I'd love to know how it is for you, but back then I was playing tackle still, so I had my helmet. So we used to have a Tuesday night practice and a Thursday night practice. So I'd have to go into school in the morning, primary school teacher, with my kit and the kit. So my duffel bag had the shoulder pads over the top, because I needed everyone to know what the equipment was. And the kids were like, "Oh, sir, what's that? What's that?" I play American football. What? And I would show them if anyone's ever seen the hardest hits videos that come out of the NFL, put that on for a group of 9, 10-year-old kids. Bro. Sir, we're doing that at lunchtime. No, you're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. So it started off with the football. Then I would bring some footballs into school just to try and teach them kind of the game, the throw and catch, because it is still a fun sport. But in trying to teach them that, if I left them with a football, these kids were either smashing the life out of each other, at break time, or just punting the ball as far as they could over the fence. South London schoolers know that we don't have playgrounds and space like that. Yes. So actually, it was just based off what can we do to teach people what to do with American football that outside of structured practices, you know? So we started off with kind of trying to throw the ball into a hoop, like the full length of a court, one-handed catches. Odell Beckham's catch against the Cowboys came right around that same time as well. So it just kind of was perfectly timed. And then it's just slowly built from that to merchandise. There's a book, there's a lot of stuff that we've done, camps, clinics, we worked with schools, coaching courses, etc. So now I think one of the things that as you landed on is with the Institute, it's a school of flag specific right now, football. And it's just seats of learning for people to come and develop. And for those that are experienced, it's more exploration. Yeah. For those that are new, it's a safe space to not feel... I think football can sometimes make people feel like they don't know stuff they should know. Yeah. And there's no such thing. Like, you know, I think my biggest thing is egos are parked at the door. There's that sense of, I must know everything, park that at the door. It's for people who are happy and quick to realize that, hey, I don't know a lot, and that's fine. That's because it's only by learning, and it's a safe space for that. I keep telling the guys it's like Professor X's school for gifted mutants. everyone's welcome. We have some 11 and 12-year-olds who take part in the classes, right to some super experienced coaches in there, all just learning together, and it's just a nice incubator for knowledge. For flag football knowledge.
I mean, I think that's what it should be. I'd imagine you've had similar experiences. I know you've started coaching as well. Yes. How have you found that? Because there's also, unfortunately, we're still in a time where we have to talk about like women coaching because there's just not enough ultimately. And so you're a great inspiration for the next generation, for other women to feel like, oh, if Yas is doing it, I can do it too. So how did you get involved?
So I have to shout out Chris Stone. So he's the head of the Women's GB program. He's also the head of the QM Vipers. And he essentially just approached me after Worlds and was like, do you want to try coaching? And I said, well, why not? So he helped me, and again, shout out Uncle Wayne, because he helped me to get that qualification. And it's just one big learning journey. I think the hardest thing about coaching is standing on the sidelines going, I just want to do it myself.
Because you're still playing as well, so it's that, And
it's really hard, and you have to really evaluate yourself as a coach when you are coaching, because you're like, why don't you get it? Like, why don't you understand? And actually, 90% of the time, it's because, like you said, it's about that language being accessible, and it's about you say it because you're a player or you've been a player, and it's so easy to you. It's like, well, obviously, that's what that means. Yeah. But to them, it's like learning a whole new language. So you just ask them to go on, not only just learn a new language, but actually, some people are probably going to run into you at full speed. It might hurt. At
the same time.
You need to stand up, keep the ball in your hand, and you need to keep running, and we need to score. And if we don't win this, we're doing this, that, and the other. And all of a sudden, you kind of get to the point where you're like, oh, actually, there's so much I have to teach them before. Like, football is so much of a life lesson in terms of like the skills that they pick up, and you know, and I can't imagine having to translate it when I'm finding it hard enough to do it in English. So not having to do it in Spanish.
Honestly, it's with Duolingo. If they want people to learn, every time someone gets it wrong, have someone run into you full speed. Like, people will figure. No, it's you're 100% right. It's making sure that internally you're making sure it's not, if someone doesn't understand what you're saying, 9 times out of 10 it's because of what you are saying. It's not because of how they're receiving it. So it's being attuned to that and being, again, like kind of humble enough, open enough to realize that I'm not perfect. There's any of a number of ways I could have said something or shown something, and it's making sure that you then try a different way, but all of it comes back to understanding the people that you're working with and being super cool as well. Just put it out
Obviously,
there.
swaggy.
I was going to say you're so humble, and then you said that.
You were doing so well until then.
It's going so well.
Can we clip that bit?
No, leave it in. Let them know the true Kenny. Leave it in.
But I think that's what's so interesting about, like, everyone's coming from a different background, right? So whether you're tackle, whether it's five-a-side flag, following IFAF rules, or you've got 9s, 8s, you've got 5 semi-contacts, you've got 7s. There's so many different variations.
Have you ever seen semi-contact ball? Sorry. Have you ever seen semi-contact flag football?
You'd love it.
I think it would be right up my street.
Honestly, you should. It is phenomenal. I mean, there's just so many different ways to get engaged in the sport, and that's what's so cool to hear your story. you're coming up next, Miss Thing. You know, so make sure we're going to tune in because I want you guys to like, subscribe. Don't forget, click the bell. The girl is telling you what to do. Stay tuned. We'll see you later.